All right, we are here. So welcome everyone. Hold on, let me get the Instagram going because I gotta pop back into Instagram and start it. That's the only pain.
Somebody got a 10-year-old we can borrow to get this tech right.
Yeah. Hold on. How do I? I'm just
Some laws
testing it out. That's why. So we are live. There we go. So welcome everyone. So I got Dion from Dion Financial Talk here and Curtis, PE turned RE. Okay, there's someone back feed coming on here.
Somebody got.
There we go. All right. Okay. So how's everyone going this Sunday?
Actually, I think I'm doing great. Curtis, why don't you explain what PE turned RE means for everybody?
Yeah, so PE turned RE means because I'm a PE teacher. I teach 6th through 8th grade PE health, and so I'm turning to the real estate to become financially free now in 8 years.
Nice. Solid plan.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out.
That's okay. And so we're trying this on a few different platforms. Mark, you've got it out on Facebook, Instagram. Are you doing X?
X, yeah, and LinkedIn, and the Instagram is the one that's always the trouble because you gotta start it, you gotta pop back into Instagram and then hit the go live and then come back in. So yeah, so Instagram is always a pain, but yeah, everything else works fine. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us this Sunday. And yeah, so Curtis, this was kind of maybe your topic that you wanted to bring up, and Dion had some side hustles when he started his financial journey, and I brought up my thoughts on working overtime because that's something that I kind of changed my thoughts on too now as far as working more overtime. But yeah, why don't you kind of maybe talk about what you want to bring up with us?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge when people start out is they understand and they see these big house prices, and then they're like, okay, I got to get 3.5% or 5% down, and the down payment's always the biggest issue, right? So what I did and continue to do is find a side hustles to kind of get extra income to go towards the down payment. Now, it may not count to my DTI because I may or may not be reporting it, but it's going to be in my account for the down payment. And so I kind of want to talk about it from a salary employee side because, like, okay, a teacher, how can a teacher get paid overtime? That's not a real thing, right? So I'm not sure about what you guys overtime was when you worked, but what I do is like coaching, and so that's how I'm able to get paid more at my job. And then I also have a coaching gig outside of the school and that I teach at.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, for me, like, a lot of the getting in the firehouse, a lot of us, we have this great schedule. So a lot of times when we get in, we're like, I'm not going to work overtime because we work so hard for this schedule that is so attractive that my days off are my days off. And for me, that's kind of how I was in the beginning. And now that I look back on it, I really should have been focusing on working more overtime because it just accelerates the whole process. And it's just a good balance there because a lot of times I would just make an excuse probably not to work the overtime because I'm like, oh, I worked so hard to get these 4 days off in a row. I'm going to enjoy myself. But I think if I just made a little more sacrifices, it would have definitely gone a long way for myself.
So when it comes to overtime, side hustles, those kind of things, I think a lot of people focus on the job that they have and will it allow overtime? Can you get a promotion to make more money? And I think the real focus is how do you save more? Like you have to look at the two-step process. And the first step in saving is increasing your income. So that can be a side hustle. For me, it was playing World of Warcraft and selling things online. For some people, it might be starting a YouTube channel, which will take a few years to get any kind of income coming out of it. It could be that you change companies, right? I had to look when I got laid off from law enforcement. I talk about this often. I started teaching at a CDL school, making $17 an hour. Well, I started working there. About 2 months later, this company that I had been working at that went on strike. So I leave law enforcement. I go to work for a company called Oak Harbor Freight Lines. Oak Harbor Freight Lines, I basically doubled my income from law enforcement. I went to Oak Harbor Freight Lines and was on track to make about $115,000 that year, working a little bit of overtime, but not a lot. Great pay, good benefits package, and the union went on strike. I don't understand it, but they went on strike. So I started teaching at the CDL school. A couple months later, I started at the CDL school for a couple of months. I was only making 17 an hour. Oak Harbor calls me and says, "Hey, we have got a terminal management shift changing in this one small town. Why don't you come and be a terminal manager?" I thought I had like 4 or 5 drivers working for me. Would have made really good money. And so I was thinking, I'm making $17 an hour. This is not going to be very much money. I can go back to Oak Harbor Freight Lines. I'll be in 6 figures, right? So as a police officer, I was making half of that. But I looked around the CDL school and I thought, and this is no offense to anybody who watches my content that was working there at the time, none of them wanted to work in management. They loved teaching. They were great instructors, but they had no desire to grow the company. They didn't want to go out and talk to the public, go on bases, go in prisons, go to work sources, talk about the school at all. And I thought, in 3 months, I'll be running this place. I stayed at a $17 an hour job when I had the opportunity to go to a 6-figure job because of the potential of where I was working. For some people, that might be the case. For some people, Curtis, you're working at a school district. Have you even looked at other school districts and considered what the pay increase could be? And would it risk your tenure, right? For you, I think it was 3 or 4 years you have to be there. How is that impacted by you changing? So that's what people say, well, you just go get a new job. How does that impact you? Your level of risk. How many people are working at a company right now where maybe it's union and you could take a management role, but it takes you out of the union and you lose that protection, and the losing your job being terminated comes down to somebody's whim instead of you get a union rep. You have it's actually really hard to lose the job. So anytime we're talking about just go get another job or just get a promotion, you have to consider the whole spectrum of how it's going to impact your life. That's the step. That's the starting step to saving. The second step is how do you reduce your expenses? And for some, that could be as simple as, how many people do you know that have a car that's younger than 5 years old, but as soon as they make the last car payment, their skin starts itching and they feel like their car's going to break down and they won't be able to fix it. So they got to go get a new car that has a new warranty. Instead of banking those car payments every month to fix the thing that's probably going to break, they go out and get another $700 or $800 a month payment on a new car that's under warranty. And then Curtis and I house hack, right? We instead of saying, how do I make more money as a side hustle? We looked at our biggest expense, right? Curtis, before you started house hacking in your last duplex, what were you paying for housing?
None, because I was at my mom's house before that.
What part of your life were you paying for housing?
Oh,
You're under my roof. Yeah. These are my rules, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's look at the whole. How does it impact your life? You move out, living at your mom's. Were you gaining equity? Were you experiencing principal pay down? Were you getting depreciation tax benefits? All of that. Were you having to live by mom's rules? I've met you. I guarantee you were a guy who was, and not because she was telling you to, just because you know how that's how the world works. The respect if somebody's providing you housing is to do what their rules are. Then you start house hacking, almost living for free. So most people say, oh, just live with your parents, right? You can bank all that money. Instead, you go out, you get a duplex, you start experiencing appreciation. You've owned it for now over a year, right?
Yeah.
How much was it when you bought it?
$440.
$440. And so we've had about 6 to 10% appreciation in our counties. If you get a little further north by Michelle and Beth, it was like 30% appreciation. That's not terrible. So let's just say 5% in your area. You made 20 grand by living in a place.
Not bad.
Yeah. And living for free.
Yeah.
So, and now you're house hacking a triplex. So you're in your second one, only a little over a year into buying these properties. That's how you save. The side hustle of not going out and getting a huge mortgage payment that you are responsible for. That American dream, right? Is get a good job, work for a pension, buy a house, rack up all this debt that's not good debt, and work for 30 to 40 years to hope to be able to retire when you're possibly young enough to still enjoy it. Or add house hacking to it and start adding cash flowing rentals. And in a decade, work is optional or less.
All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to PE turned RE. I put his YouTube channel link in the comments. And there's a lot of folks in here. You got Old Guy REI, so his channel links in the comments. We got Dennis, Radion from Landlord Odysseys here. So all of their channels are in the comments. So go subscribe. We also got a question here, or from Frank. Oh, he actually said, I think the #1 wealth killer is car buying.
It's in the top few, that's for sure. That average car payment, $700 a month for a used car, $1,000 a month for a new car. And it was all the way back in 97 when Kiyosaki put out Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he said, you don't buy the liability. You buy the asset that pays for the liability. So if you have the money to buy a car, you go out and do what Curtis did and you house hack, now you move out, you stabilize that property, you get it cash flowing, and then that becomes the payment that pays for the car. Instead of having to sell your life 1 hour at a time to get a paycheck to make that payment. Yeah. Cars, first 8 years of investing, my cars were all over 19 years old. Right? I drove old Jeeps, and I had more than one because they could break down. You need one to get you to work. But a $1,500 car or $2,000 car, or a couple of them, is better than $700 a month for now it's 5 to 7 years. And by the time you go to sell it, it's still worth less than what you owe. Most people, when they go to change their car in, they end up being underwater. I know a couple of people, every time they get a new car, they just don't seem to care that if they ever went to sell, they'd have to write a check to get rid of their car.
That is
Mine is
crazy.
20 years old.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
The cars
Bill
just
also
get
mentioned.
with me.
Yeah, Bill also mentions cars and kids.
So the kids thing is a two-sided coin, right? And I'm going to admit to an actual flaw that I've done, right? And so it's a bit early in the video for an overshare, but we're going to do that. I never wanted kids. I thought if I ever grow up and become an adult and want to have kids, I want to adopt. That kid already exists. Life's already going to suck. I can make it better. And because I have known a few women who were on birth control, swore they didn't want to have kids, like all the normal stuff, I ended up as a single parent with 3 kids. Once that you have the kids, it's my responsibility. Love them very much. Didn't want them. So my mistake was I raised my kids to not want kids, right? They grew up hearing, here's all the things that you can do unless you have kids. If you have kids, especially to my son, I was like, you're going to get child support, alimony, palimony, trapped. Like I've been in this situation. And so he kind of grew up with that negative. But here's the problem with not having kids. Very few people do what Curtis did. Because I had a kid at 18, when I joined the Marines, I have a son, right? You have to grow up. You have to take responsibility for your life. Curtis, most of the people your age that don't have kids, how responsible are they? How motivated are they to go out and take care of finances, life, anything? So what I have now is kids in their 20s and my son's in his 30s that don't have to grow up. So are kids expensive? Yes. But do kids make us wake up and all of a sudden? Now, if you're watching a channel like this and you don't have kids, you're probably taking charge of your finances. But look around. We're not always talking to just the people who watch this video. I'm talking to people watching so you can look at the people around you. How many people around you in their 30s or 40s that don't have kids that say things like, my cat is my kid, comparing the level of responsibility to having a cat to having a kid. Like, and you'll hear every parent out there will say this. When my friends who don't have kids tell me that they're tired, I don't think they understand how that word works. So kids are expensive, but they can also be that eye-opening thing that makes you grow up. Because not everybody pulls a Curtis and starts doing actually good financial decisions before you have kids. Unless you have kids, and I just never met them.
Oh, no wife and no kids.
Joel Farrell from Strive for 25. Go check out his podcast. He's always complaining. I didn't put his link in earlier, but I put it in. But he says we spend $3,000 on childcare for 2 4-year-olds. Yeah,
so Joel, have you ever heard me talk about how I got through the police academy? Right. So 10 to 14 hour days over an hour distance away. I house hacked without considering income. I rented a room to a young couple. right? A couple that I knew, right? So I knew that they could be around my kids. They got free. I didn't charge them a penny for them to rent a room from me, as long as they provided overnight daycare when I stayed at the academy and slept in the parking lot. So $3,000 a month for daycare is very expensive. Could you buy a house that has a room and a second bedroom and rent to a young girl, if you want to be sexist because guys can't be babysitters, whatever your thoughts are, but rent a room to somebody at no charge for daycare and save yourself $3,000 a month? When it comes to financial freedom, it comes down to what are you willing to do?
Yeah, a few of my friends, they do the nanny thing where maybe 3, 4 days a week they just go over there. That's also like an option too.
Oh yeah, Janitor on Fire's here. I think I didn't mention him, but he has a new YouTube channel out, Postal Nerds. You got to go check that channel out. He's going through showing small post offices in his area, but he's going to be retiring from the postal service pretty soon. But let's see who else's comments did I want. There was somebody here talking about a Corvette.
That was my first. No, it wasn't my first. First, it was a Ford Raptor, which I hated. Started buying the stupid cars after 8 years of investing. Like, was living off rental income, didn't have to touch money from work, and I thought, okay, time for stupid cars. So it went Raptor, Tundra, Corvette, F-250, and then when I retired, I stepped down to a 150 because I'm hardly ever going to use it and hardly ever be around. But I went through my cycle of stupid cars. Don't compare year 8 to year 1, right? Curtis, get to year 8, and then you go, okay, what would these kids pay attention to their coach the most for if they saw me pull up in? That's what you start thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miguel Salty, thanks for stopping by, says, I recently purchased my first rental, and I'm hoping that after several rentals, I can have tenant paying my Corvette payment.
That's exactly the goal, right? Yeah. Your assets pay for your liabilities. And yeah, if you say it's my tenants that pay, but it's all of the work that it took you to get the assets to have the tenants in that pays for the Corvette.
And we have a serious, kind of a real question now. I'm not joking around now. So here from Don and Bev Perkins, thanks for stopping by. Can VA loans be used on a duplex? One of my nephews, veteran, and trying to encourage them to house hack.
So I have a nephew in the Air Force, Wayne. He's doing awesome. And he is house hacking. He first purchase was a duplex in Idaho where he's stationed. So not only can the VA loan be used for a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, or a house with an ADU, all the forms of house hacking a VA loan works for and is the same. 0 down, credit score is not considered. Loan limits went away. You can use it more than once. There's a benefit to the VA loan that most people don't talk about. If you use FHA or conventional, you're limited to 4 units or less. With the VA loan, your nephew can buy a 5-plex. So the VA loan works on up to 5 units instead of just 4. So veterans have another leg up. So I do consider the VA loan one of the strongest tools that veterans has. Not always the best option, right? If you have the money for a down payment and you can put down enough and you find a loan product that doesn't have mortgage insurance, there's other ways. Save your VA loan in case you ever want to buy a property when you don't have the money to put down. There's an option for that. But if your nephew's in, especially if they're still active duty, and that's the other thing, you can use your GI Bill and your VA loan before you get out. A lot of military people think these are benefits I get after I've served. No, this is once you've hit a certain amount of time in, these become options for you.
So Joel's a lender in St. Louis, and he just said he locked in a VA loan on Thursday at 5.875 with the seller covering some closing costs to help buy down the rate. Let's see.
VA loan's a great option. It's not required. So I have the VA loan. I've never used it. I might use it in the next couple of years to go buy the next fourplex because I'm trying to maintain about a 50% loan to value with my portfolio, and I have about a 40. So having 100% levered property is actually going to get me closer to the leverage that I want. I just haven't used it yet. Hasn't been the situation where I wanted to.
I don't know if I like having you on here, Dion. There's too much people popping in, and there's too much. I can't keep up with all the questions.
That's okay. You put the questions up. If you find one that's like, you've got the stuff, jump in. And if you want me to stop talking, you tell me.
No, no, no. I'm just trying
We're this together.
This is
So
good. It's practicing.
for the bathroom faucets, I am enough. If Matt, the lumberjack landlord, was on here, he would tell you about 10 different criteria that make the faucet the right one. I like to go to my closest Lowe's or Home Depot and use the faucet that is in stock. That's about as much thought as I put into it. I'm not a rehab or a burr guy. I've only replaced faucets when they fail. So mowing, I know people will say, "Oh, don't use this, don't use that," whatever one's bothered them. But I haven't had a problem with any of the ones from Lowe's or Home Depot. Just I usually don't tend to buy the cheapest one. The thing that I do like to do is I've purchased a bunch of places, and for some reason in the 70s, the kitchen faucets were flat. So if you're going to replace a kitchen faucet, make sure it's arced up enough to where people can fit bigger pots and pans and whatever into the sink. And so I'll replace those even if they're not damaged. So it's not even name brand, it's just style that I go for there. And then you want to look at the sink to make sure, do you have a single hole sink? Do you have a sink with 3 holes so your hot and cold have their own holes? Do you have a 4th hole for soap dispenser or for the extension hose, right? So know the layout of the sink before you get to, I usually go into the rental and take a picture and usually lay a tape measure out so I have the dimensions, so I know what to look for. And they make plates, so you can switch most of them around if you find a style that you really like. How about you guys?
Brett chimes in. Brett's actually being nice today. He's kind of an ass once in a while, but he landlord Odyssey. I use Moen as they use less cartridges, so not as many options in repairing per my plumber. All right.
Here's a not California friendly tip that I do when I'm replacing things like faucets or shower heads. In water conservation states, that's not Washington. In Washington, our problem is water mitigation. We have to figure out a way to stop it from coming into our properties. I take out the screen, the flow filter screen that's in those, because the water pressure will seem a lot less for your tenants, and they will actually not like it as much as if you take it out. So if you're in a state, I don't know if there's regulations against that, but in Washington, they don't care, because the problem is we have too much water.
I think I need you to show me where that's at.
It's pretty easy, Curtis. Next time I come over, I'll do it. Like, so the first time I come over, I put your lock in.
Yeah.
Next time I come over, I'll fix your shower. There you go.
He's not used to having a shower, and that's kind of what we can talk about too. I mean, people are amazed at that video. I posted it in the school community, and people are already responding. You know, I put kind of, this is what sacrifice is all about. You know, and Curtis, that video was amazing. I mean, you're house hacking, and you said, you know, you don't have a shower. You know, you go to the gym and or your girlfriend's house or your mom's house, and you know, you just sacrifice for what, a year probably. Yeah, now you're living life, right?
Oh my gosh, there's honestly so much space I don't even know what to do with it. Like I don't have stuff to put there.
You're looking at it, I can partition this and have a roommate.
Yeah, exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, the native to earth puts in, I work at the post office. I know he's on the big island of Hawaii. You know, have a perfect route, only takes 3/4 of an hour, but I get paid for 8. It's still a golden chain, and I'm very motivated to retire early 2030. Yeah. Great mindset right there, man. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up with, like you said, the golden chain. And like myself, I always talk about, you know, the pension was there, and it was just, you know, just something that you just work towards, right? Like, okay, you plan it out. Like, this is my 25 years. This is the numbers I gotta hit, and that's what you're striving for. And a lot of guys aren't even trying to retire early when it's so possible. Here's a question. Would you guys rather sell a vacant lot for a profit of $200K or develop the lot with a single family home and double your profit to $400K? Let's assume I can afford the carrying costs.
I
know my answer. Curtis, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I need the cash now. I don't really want to wait. I'm not a developer. That's not really where my strength is. I think I could better use that 200K now. Yeah.
I wouldn't build, I wouldn't do another BRRRR. So I just finished a BRRRR that made about $300,000. It's generated a good cash flow, a decent yield. I live for free in this self-funded house hacking BRRRR. I wouldn't do this again if it made $1 million. I'm not a builder. I'm not a developer. I don't like dealing with contractors. I'll do the small rehabs like our guy, Daniel's painting, but I think his name is Oscar. We were talking about that. Putting in another closet that's going to increase my cash flow from a property $700 or $800, about the cost of the closet for me to make that much money. No permits needed. It's not an area for that. So I would probably take the 200 and put it to work. The developing and the building, is it your job? Are you a developer? Do you know what it's like to work with your municipality, your county, or whatever permit processes in your area? So it's not just carrying the carrying costs. It's like when I talk about a lot of my friends who are investors, they buy things and then they do something like this. BRRRR, I did this because I don't have a job anymore. There's no way I would have done this while I was working or raising my kids. Like this was the dumbest thing I would have ever done. Having done it with complete freedom, all I did was lost my trip to Thailand. I moved it to the winter instead of doing it last winter. So a life change for me, but it didn't cost me my job. It didn't cost me quality time with my kids because they were still younger than 18 and living in the house or any of those things. So if it was 200 to sell, or maybe 3 million if you build and you can get it done in 6 months, then I might consider it. But 200 versus 400, not worth the time, the energy, the effort, the mental stress, the strain. Not for me.
Yeah. There's just no way that I could be teaching in my room, right, and then managing the contractors at the same time, right? So the W-2 is what pays in the bill, so I can't risk that by trying to manage the project.
Yeah, I think I'm more like Dion, where I would do it when don't have the W-2, but also do it just for that experience. Because who knows, I might love it. It might be something I want to do again. But at least now Dion can say, nope, I'm never doing it again. No matter how much money I'm going to make, no matter what you guys say, that's it. And I think that's where I would be. Just give it a shot. See, I mean, because you never know, you might love it. It might be what you're passionate about. But I don't see myself being passionate about it. But yeah, at least say I did one.
Well, it's like on the topic of the video where it's how do you develop a side hustle? I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm an investor. It's a very different type of personality. An entrepreneur is like Matt. I want to buy things, rehab, flip, 1031, house hack, do all of it together, create this massive portfolio. What I wanted was, while I'm working, I want to make more than I spend, and I want to put that money to work. I wanted my money to have a job, not me. So a BRRRR is me working. A development would be me working. But over time, playing WoW and selling things online, that wasn't a side hustle job. That was, how do I make more money to put it to work? And so that's why if somebody asked me a question like that, I would say, oh, yep, it's pretty clear and simple. I'd sell it for $5,000 versus developing it for $400,000, and I would put the $5,000 to work. Like, that's how big the spread would be, and I still wouldn't do it. Then Matt would go, if I could make an extra 10 grand, I'd probably put it in the roundup of things I'm doing in the next 2 years, right? Very different.
Dion, I heard you talk about the WoW and
going back to
selling
the
things.
Hang on a second. Curtis first.
Yeah, so Dion, I've heard you talk about the WoW and the selling things online. How does that even work? Like, because I'm like, okay, are they paying you in the game, then you transfer it over, or what was that like?
So it evolves over time, and it started all the way back in the day with a game called Ultima Online that came out in, I think, 96 or 97. And so you do things in the game that are boring to get a reward that people want. And then in the day, you would go on eBay, right, and sell the thing in an auction. Like, you want to sell a TV you're not using anymore, you go on eBay, you list it, somebody buys it, right? So you post, I have this in-game item that I can sell and give to your character. They buy it, you get reviews, you had to build a reputation too. And then you sell it, the person pays you through, and now it'd be like PayPal or something, or Venmo or Zelle, and you log into the game and you give it to them in the game. No different than a physical item. Then the games get smart because they want to make money. So they make things that you can't trade, but you can buy through the game. So they're making the money instead of you doing it. So then it evolves to the in-game currency. You find a way in the game to make what is considered money in the game, and then you went and they literally have a racist term, but it's farming sites that they associate with China. So they call them Asian farming sites. Sounds racist. Don't think it is. It's just what they are. And so you make a good amount of in-game currency, and then you sell it to one of those farming sites, and they sell it to the people in the game that are too lazy to go and make the money themselves. Because a lot of people don't game with intent. They game to relax. And if you can just log in and spend some money on something and relax and have that thing you enjoy, sure. So that was that. And then Mark, you had a question?
No, kind of along the same lines, but it's just kind of how you got into that side hustle of the video games. And I mean, were you already like making money on that side, or you just kind of figured that was an opportunity there?
So another overshare. As a single parent with 3 kids, what can you do in your spare time when you work a lot of overtime that you spend time with your kids? That's productive time. So I'm Gen X, and I figure out I have a millennial son, I have a Gen Z daughter, and when they were kids, I thought if we played games together before voice, right? Now you just get on voice. They had to chat in the game. They had to type. So I thought if we're playing together and they have to type, they're learning computer skills, they're learning to communicate, and we can do this together. So it was more of a thing of how do I spend time with my kids when we're at the house? Because we're in Washington, right? Everybody says, well, take them out on a hike. Sure. The 4 days of the year that it's nice to go out and go for a hike, we do that. But we could do that together. And then it really started just because in Ultima Online, I was literally a house flipper. The game had real estate and it was very scarce, hard to get. And I would buy a house from somebody who didn't know what it was in the game for very cheap. And then I would actually sell it on eBay for real money. And it started going. And then that game kind of, because games change, they fade away. And then it went to EverQuest, and then it went to World of Warcraft. But around the time I started investing in rentals, after the second rental, I stopped playing because I could make more money optimizing rentals, developing the binder strategy, those kind of things, than I could using the game as a side hustle.
I see Jared has stopped by. I just interviewed him, so that'll be coming out soon. But I put his YouTube channel also in the comments, so go check it out. He's doing some cool stuff, the rent by the room and lending, and yeah, he's doing some cool stuff out there. Mandy, thanks for stopping by. Let's see, Janitor on Fire. He says, I know mail carriers that keep an eye out on their routes, and they are wholesalers. Yeah. Did you ever think about wholesaling, Dion?
So wholesaling and flipping are episodical. It's a job. You stop working, the money stops coming in. So I've never considered it for a second. I've never actually sold a property. I don't have a problem with the ethics. I think if you find somebody who's willing to sell it for less than somebody else is willing to pay for it, and you can keep the gap, I don't care. I don't think it drives up the price. You found somebody that's willing to buy it that wouldn't have found that seller. So I don't have a problem with it. I think the risk with wholesaling is less than flipping, right? And flipping makes a lot of sense when we have the last decade where prices are going up and interest rates are coming down pretty easy. You make a mistake, you wait a couple months, the market fixes your mess up. That's not the case now. So there's a lot of risk involved there that I just don't like. So I don't want to say but I call myself the lazy investor because it is search on the MLS. No driving for dollars, like the mail carrier that goes around. Sure, yep, that's great. Amazon drivers now, they drive their vans around. They're going to see the houses that are empty that they go by. There's a great way to do that. I've never done driving for dollars, mailers. I had the thought of going and hanging out in the county records area where people file for divorce, and that's a target-rich environment to find people that need to sell. But I haven't even done that. I just think about it because it's funny. So no, I haven't considered wholesaling. I don't know that I would. People say it's a great way to get started in real estate. And so I am not in the real estate business. I'm not an agent. I have a list of probably a dozen reasons why I don't want to be an agent. I don't want to sell a property. They say you make your money when you buy or when you sell. No, I make my money when my tenants make their rent payment. And my expenses are less than what they're paying. It's a very kindergarten simple way to look at it. but I'm a very kindergarten simple person. And so it has to be that way for it to work for me.
Because I'm so new, a lot of people have suggested the wholesale option or things like that. And I actually have a meeting on Monday with a person from a title company to kind of talk through on how they make their lists and things like that. But again, it kind of seems like a job, and I already have one that doesn't pay half bad. And so I think there's some good practices in there, and I'm not really sure on where I want to take it, but that's why I'm having like the meeting with her on Monday.
I like that. Old guy
I think for
REI,
some people,
contractors
it's a,
stink.
it's not a, it's a good option. It's just not, it wasn't the option for me. Frank, the contractor, says contractors stink.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you see his YouTube video? I'm sure the Let's Be Frank.
I
Have
don't,
you
was
seen
that
that
recent?
one?
I think I watched the van
Kind of. You
confessions
got.
when they come up.
I
In that one
thought
yet.
that had a little Dionism to it. That's why the Let's Be Frank. Yeah, you got to
Nice.
check that one out. Let's see. Oh, question for everyone. Okay, let's see. From Miguel. This is a question for, besides having the overall goal being FIRE, what is a goal that would accomplish in real estate? Example, vacation home.
So Mark, why don't you go first there? What is a goal in real estate that you have outside of reaching financial independence through real estate?
It's kind of a little bit kind of like the Anna Kelly blueprint of kind of strategically buying maybe short-term rentals or properties in like a travel destination route that they go on. So I know she has in the Smoky Mountains and in that area, I believe maybe the Carolinas, but in that route where they travel from, I believe, Pennsylvania down to Florida, and they stop by different houses, and that's part of their vacation route. So it would be something like that, where strategically, hopefully, getting properties that I can also make use of.
Curtis, outside of financial independence, which is your focus right now, so it's probably not something you think about often, but a different goal you have. I mean, first goal was I want my own shower, right? That was a good step.
Yeah, yeah. And now I have an oven, so I can actually cook some things. But I started to think about house hacking kind of around like the country. So my dad, he lives in Florida. So kind of as I progress through and I get closer to that 10-year goals, okay, could I house hack a nice place here in Washington? Like I went to your house hack and I said, oh, okay, this is a different version. This is awesome. And then could I house hack in Florida and kind of just bounce back and forth?
So that's a good strategy. I like that. Like a version of snowbirding with house
Yeah.
hacking. I've been thinking about that for years. I was looking in Arizona and I found several places that made sense and would have been great purchases based on what happened in the market there. But the CDL school ended up not going that way, as I was actually thinking of doing that originally. Sometimes on YouTube, when we say something that people like, they hit the like button, they hit subscribe, and they come back and watch what you're saying. And sometimes when we say things that people don't like, they hit the dislike, they unsubscribe. Like some of the people that watched my retirement video the other day, I had to block like 5 people because if you want to help yourself, you tell people what they want to hear. If you want to help people, you tell them the truth. And people don't like it when I say the truth. This is a mistake that a lot of people do. They say, I want to buy a vacation house in Baja California or in Cancun or in Portugal so that when I travel, I have a place to stay. And when I'm not traveling, I will rent it out on Vrbo or Airbnb. That is a very poor use of your money and a very bad reason to buy that property. I considered, because I had enough money to buy a property all cash in Portugal, that I probably wouldn't rent out and I would only live there for a period of time. I even decided against that because that would have been a mistake. It's so much better to do a Vrbo where you buy a rental property that makes money. And when you travel, you use that funding to pay for your travels. So that, let's say you buy a place in Cancun and you Vrbo it when you're not there and you start traveling there. And you travel there for the next 3 years. and then something changes and you don't like it anymore. You own real estate there. Instead of, you could have real estate where you invest, the market that you know, the strategy that you know, whether it's at a distance or local, where you get the appreciation, principal pay down, tax benefits, everything associated with real estate in the United States, and use that money to fund your travels. Right. An example is I've got a friend who's retired. He used rentals to do it. He retired after 4 years of investing. And he was talking for a long time about buying a boat in the marina so that he could rent it out when he's not using it. And it probably would have bankrupted him. I don't think he looked at all of the things that can happen with the maintenance of the boat, the insurance of the boat, how the harbors are with renting it out. He hadn't done his research. So what he could do, buy a rental, join the Tacoma Yacht Club, take the profit from that rental, and when he wants to go out on a boat, go rent a boat. Doesn't have the insurance, doesn't have the maintenance, doesn't have all the risk involved. So this is the thing where I say this on YouTube and people unsubscribe from my channel because they have that idea. And since I don't like that idea, they think I'm a bad person. It might be the best option for you. I'm giving you the litany list of all the reasons why I wouldn't do that.
Smart.
I knew there was going to be some Dionisms thrown in here. So I was waiting for that. But yeah, Ned Talks is here also. So he just did a walkthrough for his 20 unit in New Orleans. I'm not sure if it's on his channel or Mojo Mindset, but they did a walkthrough. They're collaborating on some stuff because they're in the same area. But here's a Trade Better 99 is here. I don't know if you heard his story, Dion, but he's in the school community, Harrison, and he used to go by Trade Better 20, but he was trying to be the 100th member of the school community, and he fell short, and he became 99. So his name is now Trade Better 99. But his question is, if you could start a new side hustle today, what would get your interest?
Curtis?
Yeah, so I'm still doing the side hustle. I started it in college. So in college, I played football, and then I transitioned into coaching at the college. And then I was like, oh shoot, I still need some money to go eat. So I started training kids in the area. When our team wasn't on the field, I'd bring kids out, and then I would train them, and then it'd be like the cash I'd use to go out party or go eat or whatever. Well, now I can kind of continue that, and so now I make anywhere from $30 per hour up to $100 per hour, just kind of depending on if I'm doing a group session. And while it may not be the most, it allows me to still eat, get gas, kind of my fun cash.
Yeah, for me, I kind of want to get into sports cards as just for something fun, like trading cards. But I've actually been working more overtime. I mean, actually, it's not something I used to do a lot, but now they offer shifts where you basically come in and sleep. So I've been trying to take advantage of those when they offer those. Let's see. Oh,
My side hustle is going to be only homes.
am I supposed to let only homes in? Who's that?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
My
hold
side
on,
hustle.
hold on.
Develop this.
Okay. Wait, hold on. We're not going to get canceled after this, are we? Let's see what happens. All right, folks.
That's my side hustle. I think right now is probably one of the times more likely than at any point in history where you can develop a side hustle that has something to do with social media. Maybe not OnlyFans, but what hobby are you good at? Right? What is it? Fishing in a certain area? Is it boating in a certain area? Is it hunting? Is it old car remodeling? Whatever you are involved in, there is a way to monetize it with X, with Facebook, with YouTube, and it doesn't have to be finance related. It's just an option.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get the X and the YouTube monetized at some point, but it's fun right now. I'm having fun meeting everyone.
You're more likely to get it monetized if you focus on the fun than if you focus on the money. Just like real estate. If you focus on what will make this easier to do, right? I went long-term tenants, so it takes less work. I went for properties that help limit tenant turnover because it has aspects like a washer dryer, good parking, side by side instead of over under, all the things that make the investing easier, because real estate investing is not passive. But the more you make it passive once you own it, the more likely you are to want to grow a portfolio. And so if you're developing a side hustle like YouTube, whatever it is that you want to talk about, that there is an audience for, there are kids making multiple 7 figures a year opening toys on video, just to show here's a kid's reaction to what it's like to open toys. There is a way to monetize social media as a side hustle. I think it's one of the best options.
I believe this is for you. EverQuest equals EverCrack.
Yes. Why? And so here's the EverQuest joke that no one will understand. Why do Cunard rhinos not carry change? Because they charge everything. And there's a joke from 2002 that no one probably got. But if you know EverCrack, there's the odds you might get that.
All right. No, Joel, I guess so. Apparently, if people are commenting probably on your channel, it might
And
show
it's
up as
coming into the chat.
hidden. Well, it's on the main chat, but
Yep.
I think it's showing up as hidden on my page. So somebody was just wondering. So I guess that's how it works.
Oh, yeah. So there's different colored ones. I bet the paired ones show and the grayed out ones might not.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get to all of the comments if we can.
Yeah. So Colby is a EXP realtor in, he's more like an acquisition agent. So I might be switching to EXP soon. So like you're talking about side hustles, that's part of their attraction, right? The revenue share. And so me and Colby's been in talks, but he's here checking us out. He says, cool, playing video games, making money. And BuzzTune likes the shirt.
Thank you. My mom made it, so I will let her know.
Native to
Boy
her.
Jenkins, Bill O'Connell. Now there's an old WoW player.
Hey Dion, what do you provide for your roommate house hack? Refrigerator, bed frame, TV mount?
So when I house hacked my way through the police academy, they had their own room and then shared access to the rest of the house. So there was 2 bathrooms, one that they had access to with the kids, TV, everything was fully furnished except for their bedroom. The roommate house hack that I had at my 4-plex. I mean, how much of your space do you use? I need my workout area, which was the garage, and then my room for YouTube, gaming, whatever. Other activities that can happen in your bedroom. That's the space I need. So I don't really use the front room, the family room, the den, all the other rooms that houses can have. That's why anytime I have one in a rental, I don't assume anyone else uses them either. And I put a closet and then there's another bedroom and you make more money.
Dennis says, Curtis, just get one of those camp showers. Heat up your water, put it in the bladders, set it up right outside.
Yeah, I could probably charge for people to watch.
Goes up there with that Only Homes.
So what are you doing with the Only Homes logo?
It's a good logo. I think everybody should use that. If you're into rentals or real estate, that is free for everyone. Take a screenshot, put it up as your YouTube, your background. It's good stuff.
All right. I'm taking it.
Everyone always asks me, what's your side hustle? I have a YouTube channel that's about buying rentals. And ironically, I don't know how OnlyFans works. I assume there's a subscription thing because I've got a couple of people who've introduced me to people who make money from OnlyFans, and I've helped them buy properties. This last girl bought a 4-plex, then a triplex. They moved to Texas and bought her place because she said, I got about 2 more years, then I won't make any more money. So I know that there was good money for what she was doing because she was just paying cash. No mortgages, didn't have to worry about financing. She was just, I make the money and then I go buy the house. And so I was walking her through which ones would be good or bad deals. But she knew that there was a timeline on it. So I thought, well, Only Homes would be the way to do it. So there's a subscription model. People return to your channel to watch your stuff. They can pay to buy an hour of your time. And if anybody, there's been people who buy, the way it works is they pay for an hour. We go over their stuff. That one costs because I try to limit, because I didn't retire to have a job, but I do want to help people that really need help in the moment. And then we have a free call like 2 or 3 weeks later. And sometimes I have to reach out and remind people, hey, you have a free call sitting here, because we go over so much in that hour that there's no way you can absorb it all, but you take a bunch of notes and then you process it over the next couple of weeks. And then we talk again. It feels very much like Only Homes. Like, this is, I mean, yes, I'm always wearing clothes. You pay me to keep my clothes on. I guess that's one aspect of it. But I think that there is more benefit from paying somebody who's done what you want to do, right? Because if you're watching videos, you're investing your time, right? Netflix doesn't take now it's $21 a month or whatever it is. It takes your time. McDonald's doesn't cost you your credit card charge. It costs you your health, right? We've all seen the memes that cover these kind of things. YouTube videos cost you your time. Do you want to watch? And it's great how the algorithm works. And they talk about this with TikTok in China. If you're between the age of like 5 and 15 and you're watching TikTok, you get STEMs videos, physics videos. If you're in the US and you get cats and dancing, right? Because what you watch feeds who you become. And if you're watching a lot of YouTube, you don't have to watch all financial or all real estate or all financial freedom or retiring early or anything, but I'd sprinkle some of those in there.
So MJ stopped by, so I'll see him tomorrow morning. We're doing a live stream, like a couples one. Jen and Kenny are going to be on. We got some Pittsburgh investors are going to be on, and Matt and Jess from Mojo Mindset are going to be on. They're going to be talking about kind of how the struggles that they have at, doing it as couples, and how they're also getting their spouse on board, and how these power couples are doing it. But let's see. Kurt, who did I skip? Oh, wealth building journey. Hey, Chester, I didn't even know you're here. Thanks, man. To me, mere means to an end. I don't glorify it or ironically, Dion, overthink it.
Chester is we actually have a song for Chester. And we sang it at the one rental at event in Vegas. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. Because they're in the books.
He's a good. Oh, you heard he's in contract with a property
Under
in
contract.
Detroit?
Yeah, we talked about it in our last. It was either members only or course video.
Yeah, he's doing great, man. The Wednesday Zooms are doing well with Frank's one, so that's part of the school community. Let's see. In all seriousness, Dennis says, I love the idea of the gym membership for a shower. The funny thing is that's kind of, most people don't do it a lot, but when guys in the firehouse are having relationship issues or whatnot, you see guys hanging out, they come in on their off days and like, hey, is a bed open? And they'll be sleeping at the station or showering and, living there for a while, but it's not uncommon to happen. Let's see what else we got here.
I see a question from Trade Better. He was asking me if there's any other football side hustles, and so yes, there are. I've been debating on if I start one of those on YouTube, kind of showing drills and things that I have the kids do, and then or like film stuff. And to be honest, I'm trying to learn the balance of growing the real estate, growing the YouTube stuff, keeping everything kind of like the balance for finding what I enjoy the most, and that's kind of been a ongoing challenge.
Okay, now I'm getting attacked for sleeping at work here. I have to block some of these people in here. Let's see. Only Crocs. Yeah, I don't know if you wear Crocs, Dion, but I'm a big Crocs fan. So they're trying to tell me I should start at Only Crocs.
Do you know the origin of the shoes Crocs?
Yeah, yes. Josh sent us the Idiocracy.
There you go.
Is that what you're talking about?
Before then, the company existed, but they became famous because of the movie.
Yeah. Let's see. What does this say? I envision a frame naked house. Only Homes.
Well, there's Naked and Afraid. You just put it in some real estate investing.
Oh, here's one. Lonely homes. Well, with tenant occupied, at least they won't be lonely homes. All right.
That's a Dividend Dave dad level joke right
Yeah.
there.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm falling behind here. Yeah.
It's hard during a live stream. Like the first half hour, you sit there thinking, okay, how long can I talk to give people a chance to get questions in the comments so I can actually cover some questions? And then the questions start building up, but you want to give detailed answers. So the questions start to lag behind.
Well, I'm not used to this much people showing up. That's the thing. I don't know
We'll
if
do
it's
this a
you or
couple
Curtis.
times.
Did it show up for you or Curtis?
It's Curtis. He's the hot one.
I think this is for you. So Dion, what's the percentage of people who have 2 rentals?
So I know some statistics, like 90% of real estate agents never own 1 rental. People say so many corporations are buying real estate that prices are going up. Corporations own 3.8% of the rentals out there. So 3.8% is not impacting the overall market. And the people who complain about the corporations owning them, that's most of your retirement accounts that own REITs, that own rentals. So a lot of people complain about the wrong statistics there. I don't know how many people have 2, but I guarantee that it's a small number of people, just because of how many people do you interact in a day that never own one, period. And then there's a lot of people that become accidental landlords. So they own one, they can't sell a house, they went through a divorce, they got to rent it out, they inherit a house from their parents, and so they rent it out, and it's not their thing. So there's probably a lot more people who own 1 than own 2. There's probably more people who own 4 than people who own 2. Because once you've owned 2, Curtis, and you realize, if I don't do anything at all, and I just break even on these rentals, and there's 5% appreciation next year, I've gained $50,000 in my sleep. What would 4 be like? Like, that's the next logical step.
That was what Frank was talking about on the live today too. He dreams about running deals in his sleep. He's dreaming about running numbers.
Well, and just think about when you go to these meetups, right? These real estate meetups, it's a room full of folks that love real estate or are interested in it or want to improve. And then as you go through conversations with them, it's shocking actually how many people don't have them.
Yeah, MJ asked if I ever work. He said I'm always available doing YouTube stuff. So MJ's out of the rotation now. So he's bumped to the back of the rotation for our lives.
So MJ has to understand how many back and forths was it looking at your schedule to find a day that worked for this? Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
MJ.
like, hey, let's just go live. It was like, no, actually send me the spreadsheet that says when you're available, because that was 3 times I tried that don't work for you.
Yeah, he doesn't realize I do a lot of this like at 5 a.m. Hawaii time to accommodate people. But it's fun. I like it. So let's see. REI Struggle said he's pretty sure Lou Ferrigno was wearing Crocs when he turned into the Hulk. Oh, here's a good one. Dion, would you consider starting a real estate doom channel as a side hustle, as a satire to the other channels?
So, no, just like I guarantee that there are some happily married people out there and their spouse makes their life better. But I can't make that channel because I don't believe that enough people would ever do that successfully for the channel to work, right? So in real estate, the doom channels get a lot of views. It's very easy to point out statistics and make it sound scary, like the world's going to end. And I said it earlier in this video. If you want to have people watch your channel and help yourself, you tell people what they want to hear, and people want to hear the doom. So would I consider doing it? No. Well, I guess I have considered it and I've dismissed it because I want to help people. And to do that, you tell them the truth. And the truth is, I guess a doom channel right now might be why the commercial real estate market is going to have a lot of pain. Even Zuber's been on that for 2 or 3 years now. It's got adjustable rates went up. Rents are softening. A lot of syndications projected things that just weren't going to happen and didn't happen. And so we could easily do doom on commercial real estate. We can easily do doom on Canadian investing, UK investing, places that have 5-year fixed rate debt, which is not fixed rate debt. That's adjustable rate with a 5-year term. But in residential real estate, people keep expecting prices to cause a crash, and they never have. Not once, ever have prices caused a crash. Toxic debt causes crashes. People getting laid off didn't cause the housing crash. People having rates adjust and their mortgage went from $1,100 a month to $1,900 a month overnight causes a crash, whether you're working or not. Zuber remembers this. It's like, it's not planned obsolescence, but it's like when you're going to lose your property on purpose. I forget, somebody will throw it in the chat, I'm sure. But there was a lot of that going on. People said it would be cheaper for me to rent. I'm underwater on the house. I'm going to walk away on purpose. Because the debt adjusted. Wrapping up closing costs and being 105% levered, then prices going down causes a crash. If you have equity and prices go down, but your payment stays the same, you don't lose your house. So I don't see a doom channel in my future. Just like I don't see a lot of companies sponsoring me because I'm honest when I talk about their products.
So from Wealth Building Journey, pop quiz, who was the president in Idiocracy and what was everyone's favorite chain store?
So I don't know the actor's name, but he's in a bunch of stuff that I really like. And he's just a huge guy.
Terry Crews?
No, it's not Terry Crews. I was gonna, ha! There's a racist joke I'm gonna throw in here somewhere. No, it wasn't Terry Crews. It was another guy as big, and he generally has the one eye that's a little not straight when he acts right. He's usually typecast as kind of like the villain sidekick. I don't remember the actor's name, which is not cool because he's a great guy, great actor. Favorite chain? I don't remember it. I haven't watched that movie in forever. I just think we're living it now.
Jared says, I recently got to 4 rentals, so per Zuber, I should be ahead of average.
So Jared, here's what Zuber means. He says get to 4 because the average person can do it. His original goal was to get to 4, not to reach financial freedom, but just that his retirement, when he eventually retired, would be better. Now at 4, you get to look at it and think, do I coast on this, let the appreciation, principal pay down, and cash flow make the future better? Or do you have a taste now? And is this the next fentanyl hit for you where 4 becomes 10 or becomes 20? And for me, 4 became a quarter of what I needed, maybe half of what I needed, right? I didn't want huge, but I knew that 4 was doable and I could times that by 4 and not really impact myself. So how much bigger are you going to go? This is a lot easier to decide once you get to 4. When you have zero, it's all ethereal. You think, I don't know what it's going to be like. But at 4, you know what tenant complaints are like. You know what lease renewals are like. You know what your parking situation handling is like. You know what all the things that are going to pop up, filing taxes at the end of the year, all the things that are different once you own the rentals. You now have an understanding of what you like and don't want.
So Julian comments, first rental paying for Porsche, second rental paying for my primary, and now on hunt for the next, hoping it'll pay for my boat, which is the real.
So it's a great strategy to have your assets pay for your liabilities. Here's the twist. Okay, so Julian, not that you're doing something wrong. This is just, I maybe somebody watches this and it might help them. If the first rental pays for the second rental and the first and second rentals pay for the third rental, and then the first 3 pay for the fourth and fifth, then it's any boat and any car and any expense. Let that income snowball kick in and then start doing that. I think now, Julian, maybe you make more money than I did. And so, you're accruing the money to buy the rentals, 6 months, every year and a half or whatever. I was not making a lot of money. And so it took the rental income and the house hacking combined with increased income over time to get the rentals together to make work optional. And so for people making a lot of money, great strategy. If you're not making a lot and you can't save too fast, I think doing what Curtis is doing, right? That first house hack, let them save the money for the second one. Now the cash flow from the first one and the second one are going to go towards the third one. And 5, maybe 6 years in, then you start buying the Porsche, the boat. Can you fit in a Porsche? I don't know.
It's a tight squeeze. It's a tight squeeze.
It's hard to tell in videos, but when me and Curtis meet, see, Sam, I'm actually only 4'1", and Curtis, you're about like 6'14" or something. So
I'll be like 3'5" then next to Curtis.
Right. You should see when me and Millennium Mike take pictures. I literally almost sit down and he stands way up and we take the pictures.
So Ned Talk says YouTube costs time for sure, but having something to do with your time that doesn't require much investment other than time and has income potential but helps you save money is huge in my opinion. Yep.
Totally agree.
Let's see. Julian also mentions, I guess I do miss being dink with my wife. We were once dual income, no kids, folks. Yeah, I try to tell the guys in the firehouse, especially the younger guys that don't have kids yet and are not in a relationship, like, man, do it now, man. It does get more challenging once you throw these other obstacles in there, but do it now if you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you had a PTO for life on, but that's kind of exactly what they did. And I think Sherlinka actually paid Jeff. She was like a tenant, so it helped his DTI when they were buying more houses.
Jeff and Suleika are awesome.
Yeah,
they are like positively charged molecules. Like you just get around them and the energy comes off, and it's awesome.
I don't. This is from your channel, I believe. I've never seen Charlie here, but thanks for stopping by, Charlie. I work as an EMT and get a lot of opportunities for overtime. How do y'all manage easy overtime or earning opportunities for social events? Oh yeah, $400 for an overnight 12-hour shift or go out drinking.
So, do you have an
Yep.
answer, Chester? Not Chester, Curtis. I just got Chester.
Wow.
His comment up there. Hey,
Wow.
you did the actor thing. That was on you.
Yeah.
You're talking to me.
Here. I think when you have a certain goal in mind, if real estate and being financially free and like hustling is your thing, sometimes things have to be a sacrifice. And I think at times it's up to you, but at times I definitely lean more towards let me get the extra $400 versus let me spend a few hours out partying with friends because I'm in my 20s now, so there's a lot of friends that just go out every night, all of the time, and I have to work the next day. I don't have a day off. So for me to go out, not only do I have to spend to go drink and do whatever that they want to do, it's also going to cost me in the morning because now I'm going to be tired for when I have to go work.
Yeah, I this was my big, I guess, crutch, I guess. And it's big in the firehouse, right? It's like the camaraderie and spending time, and it's hard, and I ran it hard. I mean, I wasted so much money partying, and like you're saying, the next day, it's almost like a badge of honor, right? You can party all night and come to the station the next day, right? And just kind of part of the firehouse mentality. And I did it for a long time, and I definitely held me back. I always talk about it. I easily should be retired by now. I mean, if I did a lot of things differently. And it's still a struggle right now, because a lot of times, we have our 4 days off, and it's like you're getting messages all day, like, hey, come to my house, we're doing this or this, and they don't understand what I'm trying to work towards, and it's like, oh, you got to hang out with us, or you got to, why are you being antisocial? And it's like, I mean, I'm working on other things, I'm trying to accomplish something else, and they don't understand it, right? And so that's the struggle, and that's why. And I know myself too. It's kind of, I have to just keep that distance, because if I start going, it's easy for me to that kind of snowball effect from that standpoint, and it just becomes a habit again. It becomes a routine where every night I'm going to be hanging out with them, or every day I'm going to be doing something with them. And I think it's really just understanding yourself and knowing how to distance yourself. But
Yeah, so
definitely, yeah, those overtimes are great now. Those ones I get to sleep. It is about, geez, maybe $800 a night.
it's really challenging balancing how much do you live your life now versus how much do you delay gratification, right? And everybody's heard the marshmallow test, right? The delayed gratification, more likely to be successful. I didn't start investing until I was 40, right? And so Zuber talks about the 4 seasons, right? So first your parents take care of you, then you have the grind session where you work towards retirement, then you are retired, whether it's older or younger, and then somebody else takes care of you again in phase 4. Right? And I've talked with Zuber about this. I think there's a missing phase between your parents taking care of you and you taking charge of your finances. There's this F-off years period where you do party, you do go out. I recommend watching old Graham Stephan videos, right, from 2017 to 2020. He would talk about going out with his friends. He gets an appetizer instead of a meal, drink at home. I don't think he said that. I would drink at home, then go and meet them and not drink at the place because they make money off the drinks at where you're going. And right, so there's ways to do that. And so at 40, when I finally woke up and realized you have 2 financial lives, and your second one starts the day you realize you only have 1 financial life and you need to take charge of it. And so at 40, I started investing. And so from 40 to 48, no social events. And for people who know me in person, no dating, like literally 8 years, like that. There's an award in there somewhere. But for 8 years, it was no social events, no going out. I took charge. So if you did this at 20, it would have been 20 to 28, maybe even sooner. People laugh at you because you're different. You'll be able to laugh at them because they're all the same. When they say, "Why aren't you hanging out with us? You're not in the group anymore," and you're like, "No, I don't want to live the life that everyone else is. I'm going to live the life no one else wants to, so that in 8 years I can live the life that nobody can." And so that's the thing. Yeah, for a few years, there was in my 40s, I missed out on a lot of things where my friends were getting together, going camping, taking trips, and no vacations, nothing. I worked, side hustle, bought and developed the rentals, learned the binder strategy, fine-tuned that, got all that down to where by 48 now, for the next 4 years, so from 48 to 52, I didn't touch a penny from work. I lived off of rental income, and I saved most of the rental income too. There was a point where I was saving 60% of rental income and 100% of W-2 income. So the next rentals came a lot faster. And then at 52, 2 years ago, I retire. Rentals are in place. I will slowly add them as they pop up. But I can, you say you don't want to go out and party because tomorrow you're going to be tired, right? I don't stop gaming until I see the glimmer of sunlight. I think, oh, it's getting early. I should go to bed. Have the life that no one else can because I lived the life nobody wanted to.
That was the other part of the challenge with scheduling. This was in between your naps of trying to figure out when you'd
Today
be
was a rough one.
available
I went
to do this
actually
live.
people today went and watched a movie and yeah, I like to stream stuff, but I have a friend that likes to go to the movies, so we went and watched a movie. And then I had to take a nap, but here I am. I made it. And yes, it was the text about 15 minutes before we got on that said, "Oh yeah, that's today. I should wake up."
I was like, how much time should I give? How much notice should I give him?
15 minutes minimum. Because pants are still optional on this platform.
But Mikey's here, BuzzTune. So YouTube is great live to help you practice talking, and then can leverage it into talking with real estate contacts. Yeah.
So an overshare late in the video, I have some head trauma from Desert Storm, and I have some memory issues. And there are people who, you forget your kids at the soccer game. I forget I have kids. Oh yeah, I have kids. Where are they at, right? The more I do YouTube, the more I answer questions, the more this became second nature, the easier investing became. The more you interact with people and you say things and you hear things, right? How many times do you hear there's going to be a housing crash? And then you hear the people that are talking about housing crash is going to happen in commercial because of the way the debt's structured. And all of a sudden it becomes a thought that's just normal to you. The more you spend time around people that are doing this, the easier it will be.
What about you, Curtis? You think it's helping you communicate with agents and lenders and things, starting the social media side?
Because I have these thoughts in my mind or things that I've journaled about, but then when you verbally have to communicate it, it kind of is that good practice as well. And it's always nice to kind of bounce off ideas that are with guys that are a little bit further along.
Yeah. Oh shoot. I didn't even cover Ned's question, but I'll go at wealth building journeys while it's right here. First is the base hit. Second is either a base hit or an extra base hit. And after being patient, when the opportunity shows itself, swing for the fences.
I think it's an analogy to say get the first rentals. They can be base hits because you don't get RBIs unless you have somebody on base. And then as you own more and more rentals, be more selective on the better and better deals.
Did you just reference sports? Like a baseball?
Zuber does that. So I'm stealing it from him. I reference a few things in sports. There's the basketball guy that says, my family's not rich, I am. I like that. And there's the basketball guy that says, when you don't have enough, money's the only thing. And when you have enough, money becomes just a thing. I know they play basketball. That's about it. I don't know the rest of that story there.
Okay. Well, Ned says, having something trick you into saving more by spending less is great. Video games also help.
As long as you're not the one buying the things from somebody like me that's selling them, I agree. And just think of how many women don't like to date guys who play video games and all the money you save by not dating.
Yeah, that's expensive. Do you know who this person is, Dion? Have you seen? Is it
the name Jada? Yes,
I think Jada Fresh.
I don't know that I've seen Fresh before, but so I'll handle this. If somebody is dealing with a declining health issues from genetics, is it worth doing real estate investing or just enjoy the money? How old is the person? How long is the degrading going to take? And how hard is healthcare going to be when you don't have any finances to take care of it in the future? Right? There's a long list of questions that bring you up to it. I meet people that are in their 70s. Should I start investing in real estate? I don't know your whole situation to tell you a yes or no. I know that house hacking can make life easier. If you have health issues and it's going to decline, the less expensive it is for you to live somewhere, the better it's going to be. Real estate's not for everybody. There are people who are in perfectly good health that shouldn't own a rental, right? Not to name anybody by name, but my friend Adam should never have tenants. You met him. You were here. You saw him.
Yeah. That's an interesting guy.
No, it's not his thing. He owns stocks. He's doing great. He works for the state. He'll have a pension. His wife is a teacher. She'll have a pension. They're set up to have a decent old retirement. So it's not for everyone. This is somebody I've known for decades that spends time around. Imagine watching my content to learn what I'm doing so that you can do it. But imagine knowing me for decades and refusing to do what I do because he's smart and he knows it's not for him.
I think that's super important, though, knowing that it's not for you. I think that's, sometimes people try to trick themselves. And, like my son's mom, she got started. And I think the biggest struggle there was I should have known better. And I don't think out-of-state investing was the best path for her, knowing how, she's, I don't know if micromanage is the right way to put it, but, needs to be a little more hands-on and needs to be involved in everything, I guess. And that was my fault. I think like how Zuber talks about how he invested closer to himself because he didn't want to fly or travel. And, maybe he was taking smaller returns. And I think that's super important. It's just really understanding yourself and your situation and what type of personality you have. So that's super important. MJ has a great question here. How much money you make via YouTube after hundreds or even thousands of videos? So I think you're the only one that can answer this, Dion.
I'll share my screen. There's analytics to show you what you make on YouTube. And let me see if I can figure out how. Share screen, press H. You're probably going to have to let me in this here, so I'll go share that. And I'll wait until. Is it in there?
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says I'm sharing, so be careful. I go to YouTube, go to analytics. This is what a month of YouTube looks like. This is what I'm making this month. So after 3 years of doing YouTube, over I think 1,200 videos now, it'll make $1,200 a month, and that's probably going to be a lot less if you see how it's trending here. It was trending higher at the beginning of the month than it is now because I had a couple of videos go viral to me, not viral, but viral to me at the beginning. So in a normal month, I'll make 500 to 1,000. The money to be made off of YouTube isn't from. Is there a way to stop sharing? I don't think I stopped sharing yet. Yes, there we go. The money to be made off of YouTube isn't really made from YouTube. It's made through your affiliates. So if you want to make money on YouTube or in Facebook or X or Twitter, right? There's people like Brick by Brick Wealth, the big, huge following on Instagram, kind of new to YouTube, right? Gets more attention on YouTube, more or Instagram, more views and everything. Here's a behind the scenes thing on how you can help a YouTube channel that you like. So one rental at a time. He is a like I am, an Amazon affiliate. So if you want to go buy an Audible book and you go to Zuber's channel and you click on his one rental at a time book, what it does is it puts a timer for 24 hours that anything you buy on Amazon, no change in price to you, a portion of that goes to Zuber because his link brought you to Amazon. So if you make a YouTube channel, Josh and Mary, Martin Properties, did this for Home Depot. I haven't even done this yet. So they'll do links in their videos to things. I think that ADU guy does the same thing. But you go to Home Depot's website and buy something, they're an affiliate, they can make that. So your real money comes from the interaction you have with your people who watch your videos and what you can link them to. Like I'm a Hemlane affiliate. So if somebody signs up for Hemlane, they get 20% off their first year. Hemlane sends me the little bit. Like, so it's not gonna, it takes a long time to make any money. You might have an Amazon month where you make 13 cents, right? But the longer that you do it, the more it builds up over time. And so I never really thought I would make money on YouTube. I actually didn't want to monetize my channel. But if you're making a YouTube channel, this is the idea that I had. I watch a lot of YouTube. I hate commercials. I haven't watched a commercial in 10 years. I think if you watch a commercial, you're giving somebody an opportunity that has a marketing degree, years of experience, understands psychology, and it's going to trick you into buying something that you know you can't live without, but you've never seen before. I don't want to do that, so I don't watch commercials. So I pay for YouTube Premium, and I recommend everybody do that. I wanted my content to go out with no commercials because that's going to help people. How much do you hate commercials? And you're watching my video on my channel, you get stupid commercials in it. I hate it. But YouTube doesn't promote a channel that doesn't have commercials because what is YouTube? It's a platform that makes money by having eyes on the platform so that advertisers will buy time on the platform. So YouTube can either make money off of YouTube Premium or they make money off of people and very small, like less than 1% of people that watch YouTube pay for premium. So they don't make any money that way, no real money. They make money through advertising. So if you're watching my channel, you're going to get a bunch of commercials because I wanted the channel to grow to reach more people. And then they only grow a channel. You can have some videos go out once in a while that you don't monetize, but they don't get, 100 views. YouTube just doesn't push it out because they're not going to make any money on it. So that's how YouTube pays after 3 years, 1,200 videos, thousands of hours, because some of my videos are like this, 2 or 3 hours long. Right? So it's not like I've got 1,200 shorts on my channel. It's hundreds of hours of videos to make less than I make on any of my rentals. Which don't take 3 years. Don't take hours a week. Right? They don't even take hours a month to manage my rentals. So if you're looking to make money, owning a rental is better than making a YouTube channel. If you love what you're talking about and you're going to go and you're going to Jeep all weekend and you're going to compare what an FJ will do compared to what your Jeep will do, and you can make videos about that. And sometimes it's the Jeep rolling down and you're buying a new Jeep, but you love doing that and you make the videos, sure, make a YouTube channel. The money is an accidental byproduct of doing something well. Like almost any business that you run, money is an accidental byproduct of something you do really well.
Yeah, and I think there's a guy that we all know, and he'll post his like the real estate things, and that's kind of drawn in private money lenders too because they see what he's doing, and then so they trust him, they like him, and then they give him the
Well,
money.
yeah, look at Millennial Mike.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the topic of affiliates, if anybody needs any landlord banking software or bookkeeping, I would check out Baselane. Baselane is free. It's a super good software to use. I love it.
I've had
They're
a
actually going
couple.
to be.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
So
no,
I've
yeah,
had a
they're going
couple
to
reach
be.
out to me.
Go
This is
ahead. Go
great,
ahead.
YouTube. All right. I've had some affiliates reach out to me and I've not worked with them. So Wi-Fi reached out. If you're really into stocks and retirement accounts, I think Wi-Fi would be great. I don't own any stocks and I don't like retirement accounts. So even though it would have been a way to make pretty good money, I didn't take the affiliate. The Ridge wallet reached out and said, hey, we'll send you a Ridge wallet and $1,000 if you make a video. Sure. I made a video on how I like the Flip wallet and how the Ridge sucks. And I don't think they'll be sending me an affiliate link in the future. So
Mm.
as you grow your social media or your YouTube channel, be really careful with who you affiliate with and that you actually like their product and you actually use it. Or you say, I don't use it, but you can try this out and be honest because your reputation is everything.
No, yeah, I use Baselane. There's a couple people that use Baselane. They're going to start implementing things like Hemlane. So right now it's more for banking, bookkeeping, but they're going to start implementing. They're saying by the end of the year the maintenance and tenant coordination type stuff. So let's see what else we got here. Yeah, maybe we'll go about 15 more minutes or so. I got to meet Lars. Lars is in town in Hawaii for RIMPAC. So we met up Friday night, me, him, and Mikey. We're going to have dinner again tonight. Let's see. There was something from MJ. Where did it go? There was a question.
Yeah, I was asking about the real estate goals on if you've met yours yet.
I have not. Yeah, I have not met my goals yet. I am still in that 5 years of suck, as they would say.
There's two types of goals. There's probably more, but there's two to focus on. One is an outcome and one is an action. If people say, I want to close on a rental before the end of the year, you actually don't control that. And if you get close to the end of the year, you might be prompted to buy a bad deal. But if you make action goals, I want to run the numbers on 2 properties every day. I want to reach out to one investor every week and interact and have some type of question. Even if it's Frank from Old Guy REI sending a message to me saying, hey, what'd you have for lunch today? I'm going to have that interaction. You control your actions. You don't control the outcomes. The more actions you take charge of, the better your outcomes will be, and the more they will align with your long-term goals. So, Mark, when you say you haven't hit your goals, have you purchased rentals in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. Have you processed evictions, got a tenant out, and put another tenant in?
No evictions, like no full
No evictions.
evictions.
Okay.
But
But have
yeah,
you done tenant turnovers?
yes.
Okay. So you've accomplished actionable goals. Maybe you haven't gotten to the outcome goals yet, but the more of your actionable goals you take charge of, the more likely your outcomes are to actually happen.
Yeah, we can end this now. Then we can end it on that. The Sunday Dionism. No, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I definitely. I mean, I'm glad at the progress I've made and what I'm doing. Just ultimately, yeah, there's kind of an end goal, but definitely the like you're saying um, smaller goals are being met and keep moving forward, and so that's the main thing, and just keep growing the YouTube side and social media and connecting with everyone. That's the fun part. And I think even someone I skipped over, but they're talking about meeting in Vegas. They didn't come to the first ORAD event, right? So it's kind of like they're looking forward to meeting this community. Oh, actually, Curtis didn't make it to the first one also, but I think the second one's going to be great. I mean, there's even going to be more interaction going on. I think people are probably going to show up earlier, probably stay a few days after the event and kind of interact a lot more. Ned talk for you, Dion, is since you don't make much of profit with YouTube, how important are the write-offs with respect to travels and lifestyle.
So the write-offs are against all of the affiliate income as well. That's all considered the same. So I still trying to think if I've paid any taxes on any income from affiliates. No, and so a lot of the write-offs that I'll do, I'll put towards like so the trip to Portugal, the trip to Florida. I was studying real estate markets. I met with agents. I looked at properties. I compared numbers. That entire trips, outside of maybe the scuba expenses, because I wasn't really looking at properties underwater. Yeah, I'll figure that out yet. But write a cruise off against YouTube income? Absolutely. If the cruise contributed to the YouTube content. It didn't contribute to the real estate stuff, but the trip to Portugal, that was 2 months. I met with agents. I figured out how their lending works, where I was literally 4 or 5 days in each town that I was thinking of buying in. Would absolutely argue with an IRS agent that was a YouTube and a real estate write-off.
Let's see. So Wandering Doc is here. I haven't seen him around in a while, but thanks for stopping by. He says, if a woman doesn't look up to you literally and metaphorically now and over time, it ain't going to work out.
Do you know how unfortunate that is for a guy who's attracted to taller women? This sucks.
Let's see. Yeah, he agreed. YouTube Premium is probably the best $15 spent.
You can listen to it with the app closed. That's the thing. And no commercials ever.
Yeah, that is huge. Let's see. Oh, there's someone who uses baseline here. See, I'm being truthful. Christopher Ramsey's here. He says, agree. Baseline is solid. Yeah. Let's see. Somebody else is here for Rim Pack, or what is going on? Let's see. For the city. Oh, Rim Pack, Rim of the Pacific Military Operational Exercise. Wasn't that one movie based on Rim Pack? I mean, like with those, like kind of a alien, not alien.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, like
more of a
sci-fi
feel.
Yeah. Let's see. MJ. Affiliate opportunities are contingent on your influence on culture, community, etc.
Oculus says, per my brother, it's not only tall women. I will give you that. It's all women.
Oh, hold on. There's one for Dion I see down here. Right here. Have you thought, from Trade Better 99, have you thought of purchasing out of the country for better health insurance?
You have to be out of the country for that health insurance to kick in. You can't go to like Thailand and get the $60 a month for really good coverage on a couple. Come into the US and use that coverage here. So yes, geo arbitrage for housing, sure. Geo arbitrage for medical, absolutely. But you have to be there. So when I travel to Thailand, it's less than $60 a month for really good coverage.
Yeah, I love the videos you guys did recently. You, Zuber, Lumberjack, like you're talking about the missing phase. And even though, but this was just by yourself, I think. You did like a short live, right? Doing things backwards. Things
that I do backwards in real estate investing, yes.
Yeah, that one was, I mean, it goes back to the whole Dion or something. The way so how do you like, do you just sit there and kind of evaluate?
So we're wrapping up a video, right? Anybody that's this far in is thinking, okay, I've learned everything I'm going to learn. I might share something now that's not exactly real estate related. This more explains who I am. So for several years, I ran a martial arts studio, and then I got into defensive tactics training for law enforcement, right? So I still kind of do, not really a side hustle because it's not remunerated, but I still go and do groundwork with different agencies. There's a concept from Duke's Ninjutsu, which was in Southern California a billion years ago. That's how old I am. And the idea was called a step 45, right? Everyone is expecting frontal attack or side attack, right? How many times have you heard crescent kick, side kick, spinning heel, all these different attacks that come from these two angles? So you have defenses. You practice your katas for defenses. You practice sparring defensives to know these are the ways that attacks come. but nobody has anything to defend something coming from a 45-degree angle from your right or your left. It's why an inside hook works so well. Nobody's ready for it. Nobody expects it. They're expecting straight on or sideways. So step 45 is the way you approach almost every physical assault or defense. Depends on your perspective. I look at everything in life, whatever it comes down to, real estate, parenting, work, what you do at work, from an odd angle. Everybody thinks, I look at my problem. So if you ever write a paper, I don't know if you guys, Mark, if you went to school, but you went to school to become a teacher, you write a paper, you think it's good, you give it to somebody else, they look at it, they find 10 mistakes, right? You can't see your own mistakes. So if you're looking straight on, you're never going to see it. But if you try to think, if I come at this from a new angle, you'll be surprised what you can learn about any subject that somebody else hasn't recognized yet. And so I've related that weird physical aspect into stream of consciousness thinking when it comes to how do I invest? Why do I invest? Why do I do things a certain way? Why do things not work? Why do things work for me? And it's coming at it from an angle. And I don't know if that made any sense if I was able to articulate that in a way that people can understand. But it's why so many things that I do outside of relationships works really well.
Well, I love it. You make me think every time your videos come on, and I feel like I'm stupid after I watch it. I'm like,
that's not the goal. You should be educated to know something new. You sit back after a video and go, the dumbing continues.
Let's maybe wrap things up. So we got maybe 2 more questions to answer. Let's go with Christopher Ramsey's one for turnovers. Let's see here. For turnovers, how long after listing would you lower price or make improvements?
How long after listing would you lower price for making improvements? So I would follow a good. Do you guys have an answer? I've been talking a lot.
Well, I kind of have a cheat code because you're the one that told me this. It goes 2 weeks, and then you don't lower the price. You give them like a promotion.
Word for word. It's like you've seen my videos, and I steal this from apartments, right? I'm not inventing anything. I'm doing what other people have done successfully, and I'm integrating that into what I do. So what happens in an apartment complex? They list apartment for rent. A month later, they go, hey, free moving truck, free half a month rents off. They do concessions before they lower rents. Lowering rent is an option. Sometimes you bring the rent down, not to get a tenant quicker, right? That's not the issue. It's to get a better quality tenant. When your rent is high and you're above area average, you're going to get a bunch of people who apply because nobody else will take them. Me and my 7 pit bulls need to move in, and we're getting kicked out of our current place. Will you take us? We'll pay $500 a month more than anybody else. You don't want them in your property for a bunch of other reasons besides the pets. So sometimes we don't lower the rent just because we haven't got applications. We've probably got plenty, but you get a better quality tenant that's more logical and analytical, probably better with their finances, and going to be easier to deal with because they'll stick to a lease because they've done the market research. They know what the rents are. And if you're at or below area average rents, you're probably going to have a better time at getting a tenant. So if you list your property, 2 weeks goes by, you don't have applications that are qualified, think concessions first. But when you lower rents, it's not to increase demand. It's to find a better quality tenant, one who's smart, because your rent was originally listed above area average. And above area average rents don't get smart people. And you want smart tenants, people who can read a lease and understand, yeah, if I have a vehicle in the yard, the tabs are expired and it doesn't run, the owner's going to have it towed. That's in the lease, so I won't do that. Where your people who are desperate, need to move quick, and will pay more than area average, probably have that exact problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe a little spin, and I've never really heard your thoughts on this, Dion, but I think that was maybe part of a lot of my struggles in the beginning for me is more, I should have maybe lowered my expectations just so that I could feel, not like you're saying, not fill it quicker or fill it with get more applications, but just fill it for peace of mind to kind of get my feet wet and kind of take the nerve away from trying to prove that I expect this much rent, or my research tells me I'm supposed to, get this much rent for the property. So it's kind of if I just settled for maybe slightly below what I expected, then it would have kind of calmed my nerves, kind of been able to kind of get my foot in the door and get things moving along. I think that's what I would have done a lot differently also. So we'll wrap this up. Sorry if we didn't get to some of your questions, but MJ has two, so we'll pick one. So since this one is for Curtis, he's asking PE turn RE. So we'll wrap things up with this final one. PE turn RE, do you plan on getting a third house hack in Washington? If no, why not?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Probably around this time next year, I'll be making offers. Maybe a little earlier, just kind of depending on how things turn out, but definitely by this time next year. This is where I work, so this is the easiest route. This is the area and that I know, and so the plan is just kind of keep racking up the house hacks.
I love it. Well, thanks for doing this, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Go subscribe. Go to Curtis's channel. Dion has enough subscribers already, but yeah, thanks for doing this. And then, like I mentioned, I'll be doing a live tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. MJ is gonna hop on with me and some power couples, and we're gonna go over that. But yeah, thanks for doing it. Have a great Sunday evening, everyone.
Ciao.